Morning Mutai. Another halakha with regards to Hilchot Berachot. There is a debate among the poskim at what point it becomes permissible after a person makes a bracha to begin talking again. We know the Gemara tells us in Masechet Berachot Daf Mem that a person is not allowed to be mafsik, you're not allowed to interrupt between making a bracha and eating the food. And if a person does that, if you interrupt, well, it really depends what you interrupt about. If you interrupt by speaking random words, nothing to do with what you're eating or drinking, the halacha is it's a bracha levatana, and you have to repeat the bracha. However, if you interrupted with regards to something that you are eating or drinking, the Gemara gives an example. For instance, a person's made a bracha, and he realized that there's no salt on the table. And he says, Aviyu menach, bring salt. The halacha is that b'di'avad, that doesn't constitute a hefsek, it's not considered an interruption, and a person does not need to repeat the bracha. Now that's only obviously, needless to say, that's b'di'avad. L'chatechila, you can't see that there's no salt on the table, make a bracha motzi, and then say, oh, by the way, bring salt. Can't do that l'chatechila. It's only b'di'avad. Now, the poskim discuss the root of this she'elah is, what is the main function, or what is the main takana of the bracha? Is it on the hana'ah, on the enjoyment of the food, or is it for the achila of the food? Is it for actually eating, which happens when you swallow? So, for instance, let's say a person made a bracha, put something in his mouth, he tastes it, but he hasn't yet swallowed. Or a candy, right? Very common. You put a candy in your mouth, you taste the flavor, but you haven't swallowed any part of it yet. Are you allowed to talk at that point? So the halacha, the poskim write that l'chatechila, a person should try to be careful not to talk until you actually swallow a part of the food, to be choshesh for that opinion. B'di'avad, Maran Zechron Bracha writes that if a person made a bracha and put something in his mouth and he tasted it, even though he didn't swallow anything yet, b'di'avad, if he spoke at that point, it is not considered a hefsek. He proves from Gdolei Rishonim that the main function of a bracha is on the hana'ah, is on the enjoyment, as opposed to on the achilah, and therefore, although lechatechila, you should be careful not to speak until you actually swallow a piece of whatever you're eating or drinking. B'di'avad, once it's in your mouth and you tasted the flavor, it's no longer considered hefsek. You do not have to repeat the bracha if you spoke at that point. Have a wonderful day.